You are now in tune to the most intriguing podcast in the universe. Hosted by the scientist Leon Marshall. Are you ready for Marshall's Melanin Podcast?
Listen, I am fully energized.
Class is in session.
You gonna learn today.
I found it really enlightening, like educational as well. There were a lot of things I didn't know, especially with melanin and like all the benefits of melanin. So I found that very interesting.
I love it. There's so much information, you know, it's entertaining and it's just facts after facts after facts.
This is the podcast where science is made simple and learning is fun. Welcome to Marshall's Melanin Podcast. Now, here's your host, the scientist Leon Marshall.
Yo, Marshall!
Yes. Welcome, everyone. My name is Leon Marshall, and you're tuned into Marshall's Melanin Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Family, just put some ones in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me clearly. Put some ones in the chat. Let me test the mic. Let me test everything out. Yes, family. Thank you. Coming in loud and clear. You got the family putting ones in the chat. Yes, indeed. Yes. So tonight we're going to be talking about the miseducation of melanin. Why are we all just so confused when it comes to melanin? And where did this confusion start? We're going to be going through all of that tonight, family, so you know it's going to be a very interesting one, as always. And as usual, later on, when I open up the forum, you guys can ask your questions, make your comments, or just say what's on your melanin mind. I don't mind what you say. Just be a part of tonight's class. Now I've created this podcast so we can all truly understand melanin once and for all. What it is and how it works. We must change the narrative around melanin if we're ever going to understand it. Changing the narrative means we need to change the language. Change the way we talk about and describe melanin scientifically. And that change happens right now. So let's go.
I've been to quite a few and I've heard Leon talk at other events, and as usual you do come away learning something.
Listen, I am fully energized.
That is brilliant. It's just so informative, mind-blowing. It's something that, you know, it's just put me on a journey of knowing thyself. It's just fantastic.
Large up, everyone. Big up. So tonight we're going to be talking about the miseducation of melanin. And the thing is, with me, I truly believe we need to start telling the truth about melanin to everyone, especially children, as soon as they're born. Because if you start to tell the truth to children about melanin from the day they're born, they'll have such a knowledge of self. They'll start sounding like this.
I love myself. I love my skin. I love my hair. My melanin. Even when I lose, was born to win. I never quit. Just try again. I love myself. I love my skin. I love my hair. My melanin. Even when I lose, was born to win. I never quit. Just try again. When I look in the mirror, what do I see?
When you look in the mirror, what do you see? So important. I love that video. You see the sibling there just looking at her brother like, oh my gosh. Powerful when you learn the truth. So I'm big on telling children the truth. I don't care how hard it is for them. You tell them the truth from early. And that's the reason why anyone in my family who's got young people, they've all got my book. Because you got to tell children the truth from early. And big up all the people that have bought my book and they're reading my book with their young ones. Very powerful to do it. Even if they're not even understanding it. That book, my book, The Hidden Science of Melanin, that's like a reference point for your whole family throughout everyone's life. You don't have to read it from start to finish. Just reference it from time to time. Do you get what I'm saying? Use it as a reference. And when it comes on to learning the truth with regards to melanin, obviously I'm going to be a bit biased here, but I don't think there's a stronger book, because my book will not only tell you the truth about melanin, my book breaks down why we're all confused. In other words, it breaks down the miseducation. And that's what I'm going to be breaking down tonight, the miseducation of melanin. Why is it that we're so confused with regards to melanin? And through my observation, me studying science for many, many years, I've found that everyone seems to be confused when it comes to science. And even me, when I was at school, I was very confused when it came to science. And I found that confusion leads to conflict, and conflict leads to pain. So when I was at school and they were teaching me science in such a confusing way, it led to conflict. It led to internal conflict and external conflict. The internal conflict was me thinking I was dumb. Why don't I get this? Why don't I understand biology? Why don't I understand chemistry or physics? The external conflict came with me and my science teachers. Me and my science teachers used to get into it because I wasn't listening. I was disruptive in class because, again, I didn't feel like they were teaching me anything that I could utilize with my life. So when you're learning something, especially when you're learning science, you need total clarity, because I have found through my own observation that clarity, total clarity, leads to harmony within and without, and that harmony leads to peace. So throughout tonight, I'm going to give you guys total clarity, yeah? Because I know what that leads to, and try my hardest to avoid confusion, because I know what that leads to. And when it comes on to confusion, a wise man once said, the easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. Make them think up is down, left is right, right is wrong. And when they have the opposite as their basis of truth, everything else they think they know will only confuse them. Only confuse them. And I'm going to prove it throughout tonight's podcast. So when it does come on to avoiding confusion and having total clarity, you need to make sure that you've got some master teachers that you're learning from. Some master teachers that you're learning from in order for you to have total clarity. And one of the master teachers that I learned from was Dr. Layla Africa, who is now an ancestor. And I read Dr. Layla Africa's books. I met him in 2018. I told him how powerful his books were and how they changed my life and how they helped me to put together my Black Holistic Health course. And he was blown away. He even said that he wanted to help me, promote my Black Holistic Health course and that sort of stuff. So these are the types of people that I had in my life to make sure that I know the truth and to make sure that I've got total clarity on what I'm talking about. Dr. Layla Africa, in many of his books, used to break down what melanin truly is. And to think, some people still don't know what melanin is. If I was to ask people, what is melanin? A lot of us wouldn't be able to answer that very clearly. But listen to what Dr. Layla Africa says. Now, I'm going to show you two videos, family. The one on the left is from, you'll hear Dr. Layla Africa talking. He's going to tell you exactly what melanin is. And hopefully after tonight, no one's confused about melanin. Yeah. The one on the left is Dr. Layla Africa, who is an ancestor right now. He's not with us anymore. He's with us spiritually, but physically, he's not with us. A master teacher. Yeah. And then the one on the right is a master teacher within himself, a young brother by the name of Yaki Awakened. Yeah. So again, when you need total clarity, especially on things scientific, anything to do with science, you need some master teachers in your life. So Dr. Layla Africa, he's a master teacher. He's one of the ancestors. And then we've got someone who's a master teacher in his own right, the young brother, Yaki Awakened. Both of these videos will tell you more about melanin than you've ever learned in your whole life, especially if you haven't been following the Hidden Science Academy or me or have my book. Yeah. Listen to what Dr. Layla Africa said when it came on to what is melanin. Very simple to understand.
Melanin is the chemical key to life. There is nothing else to study in science but melanin. We call it Kemet, which means black. The people who study melanin particles call what they're studying, the science is called chemistry, what you call chemistry, the study of melanin particles that go around in an orbit, and we call them electrons, protons, solitons. Those are melanin particles. That's why we call it chemistry. And the country you come from is called Kemet, which some people call Egypt. There's nothing else to study but melanin. And if you study chemistry or heard of chemistry and haven't heard the word melanin, you have just been studying social science.
Look at that. Melanin is the chemical key to life. Listen, every single one of your children and you should know that it is the chemical key to life. And I'm going to break down why it's the chemical key to life tonight. But let's listen to the young brother, Yaki Awaken. Listen to what he says. Let's go with the young brother.
Melanin is the beginner of life, and melanin is the end of all life. Melanin also holds sunlight. If you look and you study melanin, it's actually condensed sunlight. You have melanin in your ears to make you hear. You have melanin on your taste buds. That's how you taste your food. You have melanin in your actual eyes, on your retinas. That's how you see. We cannot function without melanin. And melanin is a very, very spiritual particle, and they have yet to even understand it because it's everywhere, but it's all in you. You have 150 trillion cells in your body, and all of them have melanin in them. And melanin right now is going for $466 per gram. Do the math. You are a walking trillionaire.
Very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. You're a walking trillionaire. A walking trillionaire. So when it comes on to how valuable melanin is, all you need to do is go back to that video. Yeah. And if you have my book, you know there's the different types of melanin. So you've got eumelanin that comes in black and brown, pheomelanin that comes in red and yellow. Yeah. These are the different types of skin and hair melanin. You also have a brain type of melanin called neuromelanin. And again, these are the basics, family. Everyone should know this. Eumelanin and pheomelanin. Eumelanin comes in black and brown. Pheomelanin comes in red and yellow. The main difference between the two is how well they absorb light. Eumelanin is a great absorber of light, and pheomelanin is not so great, to keep it super simple. Eumelanin is a great absorber of light. Yeah. And again, the easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. We're taught that we have melanin to block sunlight, when the opposite is true. The reason why you have melanin is to absorb sunlight. It's not to block it. It's the total opposite. Yeah. So again, this is the way they confuse us from birth, by literally telling us the opposite of what's true. And when it comes on to how simple it is to explain this, all we need to do is go back to school. How many of you were taught the process of photosynthesis, which is how plants live? This is the process of photosynthesis. Every single one of us at school was taught this process. How, you know, the green pigment in plants, which is chlorophyll, absorbs sunlight. And then in the presence of carbon dioxide and water, there's a chemical reaction that happens inside of the plant. And the result of that chemical reaction is oxygen and glucose. So the plant releases oxygen as a byproduct, and it makes glucose or sugars, and that's what charges up the plant. Every single one of us are taught this at school. Now, why would they teach this at school? Because it's very important for us to understand how the universe works and how what we're seeing around us works. But do you know that there's a similar process that happens inside of you? And they call it production of vitamin D. Again, if you've been following the Hidden Science Academy, you know vitamin D is not a vitamin. It is a hormone. And that hormone is produced through a process. Just like photosynthesis, there's a process. This production of vitamin D is a process. And it starts with our melanin absorbing ultraviolet light. And in particular, ultraviolet B light. Because there's different types of UV light. You've got UVA and UVB. When we absorb UVB light, our melanin absorbs that and then converts a type of cholesterol that's in our skin into a precursor. That type of cholesterol goes through your liver and kidneys, and then your kidneys release the active form of vitamin D. So it's actually your kidneys that synthesize vitamin D. Did we know this? How many of us knew that the way your body produces vitamin D is with cholesterol, yeah? And then that cholesterol getting converted into a precursor that goes through your liver and kidneys. Again, what I'm saying is the basics. Every single person in school should be taught this, because it's just like teaching children about photosynthesis. There's a process that happens inside of the plant. This process happens inside of you. So why do they not teach this in school? And again, this process is everyone, by the way, not just black people. This happens in everyone. This is the way your body produces vitamin D. And let me go one step further. This is the only way your body produces vitamin D. So every time I talk about vitamin D, people are like, what about vitamin D supplements? Listen, unless the sun is in that supplement, yeah, I don't know what you're taking. Unless you open up that supplement and the sun starts shining, I don't know what you're taking with regards to vitamin D supplements, yeah? So look at that. In, what was that, 5 minutes? In 5 minutes, I've told you more about melanin than you've ever been taught in your whole life, yeah? And at school, they teach us about photosynthesis. And again, every child all over the world is taught about photosynthesis and the differences in plants. When it comes on to the differences in plants, no one bats an eyelid. We're taught about it. We're all fascinated about the different types of plants that there are out there. Yeah, we're all fascinated by the process of photosynthesis. But when it comes on to the differences in human beings, now all of a sudden, everyone's tight-lipped, and now, you know, there's confusion and hypocrisy. Yeah. So if you're going to teach every child the process of photosynthesis, why would you not teach every child this process, which is the human process? There's actually scientists that say that melanin is like the human, it can perform photosynthesis. They call it the human photosynthesis. They say that melanin is like chlorophyll. In other words, it absorbs light, and then there's a chemical reaction that takes place inside of your body or inside that results in vitamin D. So that's very similar to what happens in plants. There's a chemical reaction that happens inside that results in glucose. And again, that glucose is very important for the plant. This vitamin D is very important for humans. But for whatever reason, they don't want to teach people the basics. And let me show you that these people do know the truth, by the way. Because again, there's a book out there that's called Human Photosynthesis. There's a scientist, and he breaks down how melanin kind of does the same thing that the plants do. Yeah. Melanin can absorb sunlight. And then the first step in photosynthesis, and this is something that, again, we should all be taught in school. The first step in photosynthesis is the splitting of the water molecule. The first step in photosynthesis is when chlorophyll splits the water molecule into oxygen and hydrogen. Do you know that that's what your melanin does as well? Your melanin splits the water molecule into oxygen and hydrogen. Now, in plants, they don't actually need the oxygen. That's why they release it into the air. Yeah. They need the hydrogen. They take the hydrogen, combine it with carbon, and that's how they create the glucose. So the plants need the hydrogen. Now, we do the same. We can take hydrogen and create energy with it, but obviously we utilize oxygen as well. So your melanin splits the water molecule. And let me just show you. Again, these people know the truth. Here's a video from a podcast, and they're telling you exactly what I've just told you, that melanin splits the water molecule. In science, they call it water dissociation. That's the scientific term. Listen carefully.
The human melanin pigment actually operates very similar to the chlorophyll pigment in plants in terms of being able to accept photons of light and generates ATP-based energy.
So that's how our body makes energy. So
it's human photosynthesis. The electron transport chain is how we make energy, but normally you'd feed glucose into that cycle, right?
So you can feed light to make energy.
You can use the combination of light and melanin to produce energy, and just melanin alone can shift you into a state of producing electrons.
So it's basically a mitochondrial
it's like
therapy.
Charging the body's battery. Yeah.
Melanin is a master molecule. Melanin has the intrinsic property to transform light into chemical energy, dissociating the water molecule as chlorophyll in plants.
Exactly the same thing as chlorophyll in plants. So this is very powerful information, and these people know it. The scientists know it. Yeah, the people who study melanin know it. So here's the thing. When you're not being taught the truth about melanin, it's because the people who are teaching you don't know the truth, or they do. If they don't know the truth, obviously they can't tell you the truth. But if they do know the truth and they're not telling you what you just heard in this podcast, then they are trying to confuse you. And remember, the easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. We're taught that melanin blocks sunlight. The opposite is true. Melanin absorbs sunlight. And when you start to know this sort of information, that melanin absorbs sunlight, and that's what literally charges you up, yeah? Again, you'll have a sense of self that will be so powerful, so invincible, that you'll be looking in the mirror like you are invincible. You'll be looking in the mirror looking at a superhero. Bruh, my melanin splits the water molecule into oxygen and hydrogen. How amazing is that? And that is what charges up, and then the sun charges up my melanin like a battery. How amazing is that? Yeah? But again, no one's being taught the truth, so everyone's confused with regards to melanin. And this is another reason why I believe we need to be taught the truth, because if you're not, you fall for these narratives that are out there. What I call the false narratives that are out there with regards to melanin, with regards to Black people. And I feel like I'm the only one in the UK that's kind of pushing these false narratives, because a lot of us fall for these narratives, yeah? The biggest one, and people who've been following me, you know I talk about this one a hell of a lot because they push it over and over again. The biggest narrative in the UK with regards to Black people is the Black people are more likely to narrative. The more likely to narrative. And if this is your first time on the podcast, let me give you some examples. So in the UK, they say that black men are 1 in 4 will get prostate cancer. They actually say that Black men are 4 times more likely to die from prostate cancer. They say that Black men are 4 times more likely to die from prostate cancer. When you ask the experts why, this is what they start doing. They start tap dancing. And what I mean by they start tap dancing, they start chatting absolute foolishness. They'll never give you a straight answer. Why are Black men 4 times more likely to die from prostate cancer? Ask any expert. They're not going to give you a straight answer. They're going to start tap dancing around what I call the elephant in the room, which is melanin. Look at this. This is from ITV News. Why Black people are 4 times more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act than white people. Notice the pattern. This is the more likely to narrative. This is from The Guardian. It says Black people are 4 times as likely as white people to be murdered. Notice the pattern, family. And then this one from the BBC, which came out a couple of years ago, Black women 4 times more likely to die in childbirth. Again, why on earth would Black women be 4 times more likely to die in childbirth? Let's ask the experts. They will never give you a straight answer. Yeah. And who remembers a couple years ago during the pandemic when they said Black people in the UK are 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19? Yeah. Notice the pattern. Why would Black people be 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19? Yeah. And let me just show you something, because I always say that they tap dance. And when I say they tap dance, they chat absolute foolishness. They literally chat absolute foolishness, if I'm being honest. Yeah. When they tap dance, they say, but because they're quote unquote scientists or quote unquote experts or doctors, and we don't really study science, we believe their foolishness. That's what's crazy. We believe their foolishness. But I'm going to show you in real time how they tap dance. Yeah. So this was during the pandemic. You can see this is from Sky News. And everyone was wondering, why are Black people 4 times more likely to die from COVID? Yeah. So here's a quote unquote expert. He's a doctor. And he believes that the reason why Black people were more likely to die from COVID was because of vitamin D. Yeah. Listen carefully to what this expert says. He says the reason why he believes that Black people were 4 times more likely to die from COVID is because of vitamin D. Listen.
There are socio-economic factors, but actually, when you look at levels of vitamin D suppression in these populations, I wondered whether that was the cause. And that's the advice I'm giving now for members of the Black and Asian community to consider vitamin D supplements.
Okay, so I hope everyone heard that because it was a little bit low, but he said he believes that vitamin D suppression is the reason why Black and Asian Black people were more likely to die from COVID-19. Yeah, vitamin D suppression. Because again, the narrative is that melanin blocks sunlight. So Black people, you are low on vitamin D. Black people, your melanin blocks sunlight. So you're low on vitamin D. Family, the opposite is true. The opposite is true. Your melanin absorbs sunlight. So if you were to gather everyone in the world and measure everyone's vitamin D levels, you'll find that Black people in general, obviously there's going to be Black people with low vitamin D, but Black people in general have the highest amount of vitamin D. Not the lowest, the highest. But again, if you're being taught by these tap dancers and you don't know the truth, all of a sudden you're going to go with this narrative that your melanin blocks sunlight and then tutus, you're low on vitamin D. Yeah. But I've already showed you, I've just told you how your body produces vitamin D. Your body produces vitamin D when your melanin is exposed to ultraviolet radiation. Your melanin absorbs that ultraviolet radiation, then converts cholesterol, a type of cholesterol that's in your skin, into a precursor. That precursor goes through your liver and kidneys, and then your kidneys secrete into your blood the active form of vitamin D. That is the process. Remember, they teach us about the photosynthesis process. This is the, you could argue, the melanin process or the human process. Yeah. And then I want you guys to put 2 and 2 together as to how we can mess up this process. So think about it. If you're putting on sunscreen, you mess up this process because now you're blocking UV light. If you're out in the sun, but you're covered up, you're in the shade. You know how many Black people, when they go on holiday, they're in the shade. If you're out in the sun and you're in the shade, you mess up this process. Yeah. If you're out in the sun, yeah, your melanin is absorbing sunlight, but you've got liver and kidney issues. You mess up the process. Now, why would you have liver and kidney issues? Your liver could get messed up from alcohol or processed foods because your liver is responsible for filtering out all the toxins out of your body, but also stress. Listen to me, family. Also stress. Stress can weaken your liver. And again, if your liver's weakened, then that precursor can't get converted into vitamin D through your liver and kidneys. So that's all the ways that we can be low on vitamin D. It has nothing to do with our melanin blocking sunlight. I hope we're getting this. Yeah. It has nothing to do with our melanin blocking sunlight. Our liver and kidneys are the 2 organs that your body uses to synthesize vitamin D. Notice that the expert didn't say anything about Black people just going out in the sun. Did you notice that, family? He said, I recommend that Black people take vitamin D supplements. Why would you recommend vitamin D supplements? Why wouldn't you not tell Black people, hey, Black people, go out in the sun. Make sure you're not wearing any sunscreen. Make sure you're not in the shade. Yeah. Make sure you're not covered up from head to toe. And make sure your melanin's absorbing sunlight and you're good. Obviously, make sure that your liver and kidneys are healthy as well. You know what I mean? And you're good. But no, you're going to recommend vitamin D supplements. Yeah. So this is why I say they tap dance. And again, we don't know the truth. So a lot of us will be like, okay, well, I need some vitamin D supplements then. Now, listen to what he says in this one. He's going to elaborate. The brother who was asking him questions from Sky News says, why do you recommend vitamin D supplements? Listen to what he says.
So the reason I mention it is because of clearly there's a higher level of melanin in the skin of Black and Asian people, and that's to protect their skin from the sun and from the harmful effects of UV rays.
Did you hear that, family? Again, I feel like this is another narrative that a lot of us believe. Did you hear what he said right at the end? He said the reason why we've got melanin is to protect us from the harmful UV rays. This is another narrative that if you know the truth, you won't fall for. The harmful UV rays narrative. Again, now you know there's differences in melanin. What we should be asking is harmful? Harmful to who? Harmful to what type of melanin? That's the type of questions that I would ask if someone was to say UV rays are harmful. Harmful to who, fam? So we need to make sure that we don't fall for these narratives, family. This is another big narrative in the UK, the harmful UV rays narrative. You'll hear all the experts say this when it comes onto melanin. The reason why you've got melanin is to protect you from the harmful UV rays, the harmful UV rays, the harmful. You now know that without those UV rays, you can't produce vitamin D. No UV rays, no vitamin D. You also know just naturally that the UV rays increase your melanin. That's the reason why people go outside and they tan. Yeah. So when we're talking about harmful UV rays, harmful to who, fam? To who? Yeah. And let's break it down logically, because I always say science is simple. It's logic backed up by evidence. Yeah. If the only reason, let me start with the women. If the only reason why you have melanin, ladies, is to protect you from the sun, then why is it that when you're pregnant, you all of a sudden get darker? If the reason why you have melanin is to protect you from the sun, why is it that when you get pregnant, all of a sudden your arms get all dark, your neck gets dark? Yeah. And ladies, tell me if I'm right. If you remember when you were pregnant, did you get darker? Put a 1 in the chat if you got darker when you was pregnant. Or did this big or long black line appear in the middle of your belly? It's called the linea nigra. Yeah. The linea nigra, did that appear on your belly? That melanin line. Yeah. Why would this melanin line called linea nigra, yeah, why would that appear on your belly? Why would melanin just start coming out of nowhere when you're pregnant? Notice how it doesn't make sense. But notice how if you go with the ancestors, like Dr. Leila Africa, it starts to make total sense. Let's see how many people have been paying attention. What did Dr. Leila Africa say melanin is? Put it in the chat. If someone asks you, what is melanin? What's the one line you say? Melanin is, let me see how many people have been paying attention. Melanin is, thank you, the chemical key to life. Melanin is the chemical key to life. So when you're pregnant, yeah, obviously your melanin is going to increase because it's the key to life. You're trying to bring life into this world. So if you're now pregnant and you're going to bring life into this world, that melanin, which is the chemical key to life, is going to increase. You need more melanin to help bring this new life into being. So again, when they tell us that your melanin blocks sunlight, the opposite is true. Easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. Now let me go with the man then. Men, I'm speaking to the men now. If the only reason why you have melanin is to protect you from the sun, then men, and keep it PG, but in the comments, men, what part of your body is the darkest part? If I was to ask the men, point to the darkest part of your body, where would you point to? Men. Melanated men. You melanin men. If I ask you, point to the darkest part of your body, where would you point to? Now, if that's where you're pointing, someone tell me, if the only reason why we have melanin is to protect us from the sun, then why is the darkest part of your body the part that's never exposed to the sun? Why would that be? Let's ask the experts. All right, now I'm about to show you a video, yeah? And I might have to show you this video more than once for people to get it. Because this video kind of sums up the confusion with regards to melanin, the miseducation and what it can lead to. I'm going to show you this video. I'm going to keep totally quiet. And then you guys just put in the comments what you see. Watch this video.
Let it all work out. Let it all work out. Let it all work out. Let it all.
All right, put in the comments. What did you get from that video? I guarantee you 99% of you missed what you just saw. Oh, someone got it straight away. No. I'm going to show it one more time. Someone got it straight away.
Let it all work out. Let it all work out. Let it all work out. Let it all.
Yeah, someone else said sunglasses. Yeah, sunglasses as well. But yeah, most people picked it up. He's in the shade. She's in the sun. Yeah. He's like, POV, you are an interracial couple on holiday. The black guy, the guy who has melanin, is in the shade. His partner, who is melanin dominant, is in the sun. That just shows you how confused we are, yeah? And how much the people who don't have melanin actually know. White people will go out in the sun, yeah, knowing that their melanin doesn't absorb light like ours does. Yeah, but they know the truth with regards to melanin and sunlight and know how powerful and how important sunlight is. She's out in the sun absorbing sunlight. He's in the shade with shades on. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. He's in the shade with shades on. Yeah. Big up Chancellor. He said he's vampire training. Yeah, he's trained to be a vampire. What's crazy is the vampires, they're out in the sun, enjoying sunlight, you get me, absorbing it, topping up their vitamin D. And we, again, because we're confused and we don't know the truth with regards to melanin, we're in the shade with shades on. Yeah. Not only that, you know, I remember when I used to go raving back in the day and all the man them used to be in the rave with shades on. You're in a bloody dark place and you got shades on. Yeah. So yeah, it's like we're doing vampire training. Vampires wear shades. Vampires can't take the sun. Vampires are always in the shade. That sounds like black people at this moment. Do you understand? Yeah. So this is it. This is why we are all confused with regards to melanin. And this is the result of it. You get to a point where you find a partner and then you're on holiday and you're in the shade and she's in the sun. You know what I mean? Oh, Lord. And when it comes on to harmful UV rays, we need to ask the obvious question. Harmful to who? Let me see who's been paying attention. List the two different types of melanin in the chat. There's two different types of melanin. You've got melanin, which comes in what colors, family? Put it in the chat. Melanin comes in what colors? Black and brown. And what's the other type of melanin? Black and brown. Thank you, family. And then what's the other type of melanin? Let's see who's been paying attention. Melanin comes in red and yellow. Red and yellow. So when it comes on to harmful UV rays, again, we need to ask the obvious question. Harmful to who?
This is Grant's back. Oh, it looks fucking painful. Oh my God. This is from my dad at Bournemouth. Does it hurt, Grant?
Yeah, it's not cool, mate. Even my face is red, look at it.
Red.
Put your arms up. So the difference. It's ridiculous. Put it on him quite hard, so it's funny.
No, don't.
We need to make it a funny video.
Don't!
Look at like,
oh my God!
Oh.
Might have never been in so much pain.
How jokes. That'll do.
Harmful to who? Harmful to who? Yeah? Red. Red and yellow. Red. You get me? Now, let me show you something. Again, because we don't know the truth, where they're out in the shade, they're out in the sun, damn near killing themselves. Yeah? My guy went out in the sun. He knows that the sun is quite dangerous for him. He still went out in the sun. Do you get what I'm saying? And do you know, and this is going to blow some people away, do you know that there's actually a competition? There's a sun burning competition. I I don't think anyone is going to believe me when I say they have sun burning competitions. This is how important they realize the sun is, to the point where they'll create a competition to see who can take the sun more. You guys think I'm joking? Listen.
There is a contest in New Orleans. It is a sunburn contest. Whoever gets the worst sunburn gets like a $10,000 prize. They are red as tomatoes, like literally. How much money would someone have to pay you to enter the sunburn contest and try to win?
Do you have to start from a base tan?
I almost think it'd be better off to not have a tan. I think you'll burn better if you're like super pale going into it.
I'm honestly going to say a pretty low number, like $30,000. But
I thought you were going to say $30. I'll do it for $30.
Look at that. Listen to this.
Non-melanated people. This is a new level. Okay, this is a new one. Even for y'all. It's just a sunburn competition in okay. It's a sunburn competition in New Orleans, and I just okay, listen. Cause Shush. Okay, listen, because I'm trying to tell the story. Now, I just really want to understand. I really do. I feel like understanding is what makes the world go round. And how do y'all be coming up with, and, like y'all be testing me every day on these interwebs. Sorry. I'm not going to tell you again. Okay. So you just woke up one day and was like, oh, I want to look like a tomato, sun-dried tomato. Also, y'all not worried about skin cancer? What color is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what Red. Color are you trying to achieve? What do you get if you what do you get if you win? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just out here blood orange red, and that's you woke up and said, yes, this is what are y'all really that against lotion? You just said to yourself, you know what? Black people will not make me shower, and they will not make me put lotion on my skin. I'm gonna dry it out the old-fashioned way. Hey, who are me to judge? That ain't none of my black business. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm gonna show you. This is an AI video, so it's not real. But this is kind of like how it looks. I'm guessing that this is how the sunburn contest looks. And this is a tiny bit graphic, family. So just if you're watching this with children, yeah. But this is a AI video of how the sunburning contest probably looks.
We're live from Belmar, where competition is heating up, literally. Stay tuned, because someone's about to cook. I'm here with local legend Ronnie McCone. Ronnie, any advice for this year's competitors?
I don't use sunscreen. I use attitude. I didn't win. I survived. Gotta baste every hour or you dry out.
We're just past noon and the heat is intense, but the real question remains. What does it take to win? We're hearing reports that one contestant may have crossed a line. And there you have it, the 2025 Sunburn King.
He didn't flinch because he physically can't.
This year's Sunburn competition ends with one champion crowned and several others carted off in wet towels.
So again, this is an AI video, but why people do this? They go out in the sun and they get burnt, and they realize that the sun doesn't allow, their melanin doesn't absorb sunlight like ours does, but still they understand the importance of the sun. They're not out there blocking it in the shade. No, they're out there in the sun, like sunbathing, which again, I've said in the past, is not our culture. We shouldn't be out in the sun sunbathing, but we definitely should be out in the sun. We should be out in the sun doing something. The sun's charging you up to do something. Do you get me? But yeah, this is what they're doing. And then telling you that your melanin blocks sunlight, or, that you should seek shade. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. But let's go back to this tap dancer. I want you to listen to what he says right at the end. So remember, he said, the reason why I'm recommending vitamin D supplements is because of your melanin. Yeah? But listen to what he says right at the end of this. Again, listen.
So the reason I mention it is because of clearly there's a higher level of melanin in the skin of black and Asian people, and that's to protect their skin from the sun and from the harmful effects of UV rays. And in European populations, we've lost melanin so we can absorb more vitamin D. So it's not really a problem.
He said Europeans lost melanin, yeah? And he said Europeans lost melanin so they can absorb more vitamin D. Again, just using common sense, family. Yeah. You can't lose melanin. And what you talk about, you can lose melanin. Lose melanin where? Your melanin can go from being, black, dark, and that sort of stuff. And then if you don't get enough sunlight, your complexion could change. But you can't lose all your melanin, fam. And I might have to do a whole podcast on this out of Africa theory, because a lot of people believe this to be true. A lot of people believe the out of Africa theory, which is, for those of you who are not aware, the out of Africa theory is everyone originated in Africa. So everyone was black, everyone was African. And then we migrated to all different parts of the world. And because we migrated somewhere that was cold, all of a sudden we lost all of our melanin. That makes no sense, fam. But a lot of people believe that. So all of a sudden, you can go from a melanin, black man with locks, long dreadlocks down to your knees, yeah? Dark skin, big nose, big lips. And because you migrated out and now you live in Europe, all of a sudden you turn into a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. But a lot of people believe that out of Africa theory. I might have to do a whole podcast on it to show how much foolishness that is. But I may not even have to do it, because I remember a couple of years ago, someone sent me this interview. This is a very powerful interview with two biochemists, yeah? Two biochemists, and they're talking about the out of Africa theory. They break that down. They're talking about the origins of human beings. They talk about evolution. Do you get what I'm saying? And they talk about melanin. Now, I want you to listen to what the lady says with regards to melanin. They're going to talk about ultraviolet light. And they say, the lady says in this video that ultraviolet light is usually used to splice DNA. In other words, they use ultraviolet light in laboratories to cut DNA and splice it. Because again, these people love a laboratory. Yeah. But listen to what they say. Listen to what she says about vitamin D and that sort of stuff.
But there is a special, do you want to explain the special about melanin and how it protects the cell, the DNA inside the nucleus? That's very important.
Part of the reason you can't do these experiments, where there's a lot of melanin around, the melanin actually in a lot of people, in black people, it's actually spread out through the skin. It spreads out through the cells and covers everything. But even in a lot of white people, the melanin actually will coat the nucleus of the cell. And therefore the DNA, your central DNA, even in white people, can be actually well protected from the actions of the ultraviolet light.
There's no doubt in people with higher melanin, natural higher melanin, that it's far more likely that that melanin will be coating the nucleus, the cell wall of the nucleus of the DNA. Now the point about that is that ultraviolet light, which is often used to splice DNA, is blocked by that melanin. It absorbs it. It doesn't allow it in to.
And I just want you to notice that she said that the ultraviolet melanin blocks it, but then she corrected herself and said melanin absorbs it, because that's how melanin protects us from the sun. Yeah, melanin protects us from the sun by absorbing it and then dissipating the heat. So it doesn't protect us from by blocking it. It protects us by absorbing the light. And if the light is the heat or the sunlight is too much, it dissipates it, yeah? So it protects us by absorbing it. She says block, and then she corrects herself and says absorb. Listen carefully.
Is that ultraviolet light, which is often used to splice DNA, is blocked by that melanin. It absorbs it. It doesn't allow it in to interfere with the DNA. And it could well be, and this is Nigel's thesis, that this was a blocker for them when they were trying to genetically alter the species. And therefore, when maybe just out of random mutation, something like an albino came along, they discovered, wow, we can get straight in. Right. And it may well be that the paler-skinned nation, people on the earth, maybe have that pale skin because of this genetic experimentation to make things easier for them to work on human DNA.
Family, are you hearing what this lady is saying? Yes, alter the species. Yes, she's talking about, because she's trying to explain why people have lighter skin. Yeah, in other words, why white people even exist. Yeah, and she's saying it could be due to these genetic experimentations. In other words, you can't experiment on black people because the melanin protects the nucleus of the cell. But if she said if through genetic mutations you have something like an albino, now all of a sudden the ultraviolet light can go straight through and splice the DNA. And now when you've got spliced DNA, you can use that spliced DNA to alter the species. You can. This is what she's saying. This is not Leon Marshall. This is what she's saying. Yeah, deep. Listen carefully.
It doesn't allow it in to interfere with the DNA, and it could well be, and this is Nigel's thesis, that this was a blocker for them when they were trying to genetically alter the species, and therefore when maybe just out of random mutation something like an albino came along, they discovered, wow, we can get straight in.
Right.
And it may well be that the paler skinned nation, people on the earth, maybe have that pale skin because of this genetic experimentation to make things easier for them to work on human DNA. And in fact, Professor Steve Jones argues that this thing about vitamin D being, paler skin being there to allow vitamin D to be absorbed and so on, all these theories about why pale skin happened in the first place, he believes it's not an adequate explanation. There is no real explanation or justification for the need for pale skin at all.
Yeah, because I think if
dark skin is always an advantage in every circumstance.
Right.
See it there? She said dark skin is always an advantage in every circumstance. So she said, you see people that talk about this vitamin D thing, how black people came out of Africa and then lost their melanin and became white people, which doesn't make any sense, family. But anyway, lost all of your melanin and became white people. And the reason why that happened was because of evolution. You needed to be able to absorb more vitamin D. She's saying that's nonsense. She's saying that's nonsense, yeah? She's saying the dark skin is always the advantage, always, especially if you're talking about vitamin D, because the more melanin you have, the more sunlight you can absorb. The more sunlight means the more vitamin D. Simple. But again, this miseducation of melanin means that we have to wait until people who are high on pheomelanin tell us the truth, yeah? Because if I would have said this, everyone would have been like, what are you talking about, Leon? No. But this is a biochemist. This ain't just any white woman. Both of those people were biochemists. Yeah, they've been doing this for a very long time. All right. Now, when it comes on to believing white folks, yeah, because that's what it boils down to. A lot of us, we believe, again, I've shown you that video because unfortunately, when the white folks talk and tell the truth, we're more likely to believe them than someone like me. Yeah. And I say, stop believing white folks because they'll never tell you the truth with regards to your melanin. They'll never tell the truth with regards to your history, unfortunately. And this is pretty much all white people. Again, you do get the odd white person that tells the truth. It's always good when you can catch them on camera telling the truth, like that lady did there. Yeah. But generally speaking, they're not going to tell you the truth. And what they're going to tell you is going to be the total opposite. Because remember, what's the easiest way to confuse someone? The easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. Now, let me just show you something from present day. Everyone, the biggest story in the news right now is the new budget that just came out by the Labour government. This lady here, her name is Rachel Reeves. She's the Chancellor of the Exchequer or whatever, the new Chancellor. Listen to what Rachel Reeves, who was talking about the budget a year ago, and big up the people who know what I'm talking about because the budget just came out, the new budget, the Labour new budget with regards to tax and all that sort of stuff. Listen to what she said a year ago with regards to tax. This is what I'm saying. You've got to stop believing white people. You've got to stop believing white folks because they'll just literally tell you the opposite. Listen.
The Conservatives are now the party of high tax. On their watch, the tax burden is the highest in 70 years. I worked as an economist at the Bank of England before entering politics. I know what it takes to run a successful economy. I believe in sound money. and in public spending that's kept under control. I did not come into politics to raise taxes on working people. So my promise to you is this. Labour will not put up your income tax, national insurance, or VAT.
Did you hear that, family? She said that Labour will not increase taxes. And she said, that is my promise to you. Labour will not increase taxes. The budget just came out, and guess what she done?
Chancellor, in the budget last year, you raised £40 billion in taxes. You described it as a once-in-a-parliament budget. You promised that you wouldn't come back for more tax increases. You've broken that promise, haven't you? Because you've come back this year for £26 billion in taxes. The tax burden now the highest it's been in modern history. So when you made those promises not to raise taxes again, were you being naive or were you not being honest?
I'm Chancellor in the world as it is, not in the world as I might like it to be. Last year I had to fill a black hole left to me by the previous Conservative.
And then she starts tap dancing, yeah? So this is what I'm saying. When it comes, and this is for melanated folks, especially you melanin folks. If you're confused about melanin, yeah, and you want to learn the truth, you need clarity, stop believing white folks. Again, the odd one or two might tell you the truth, but chances are they're not going to tell you the truth about melanin. They're not going to tell you the truth about Black history. And let me show you, because I keep on saying the easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. Now, I did an event, it was 7 years ago now, called The Hidden Science of Ancient Kemet, yeah? Broke down the truth with regards to the pyramids and ancient Egypt and, you know, the pharaohs like Osar, which the Greeks call Osiris, and Heru and all that sort of stuff. I broke down the truth with regards to ancient Kemet, yeah? And let me just show you that they've been doing this thing where they confuse you by doing the opposite. They've been doing it since way back when, since ancient times. And again, easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. So in school, this is what they teach our children. This is how they teach our children Egyptians look, ancient Egyptians, yeah? And everyone knows Egypt is in Africa. So if you're talking about Egyptians, the original Egyptians were dark-skinned Africans. We're talking about, what, 5,000 years ago? The original Egyptians were dark-skinned Africans, but yet when you open up a book in school, they're going to tell you the Egyptians look like this, yeah? Or olive-skinned, yeah? And again, the easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. Even in movies, this is the way they confuse us, not just in our school books, but they'll confuse us in movies as well. These people are European playing Egyptians, yeah? Easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. These people are Europeans playing Africans, yeah? So they don't want you to know the truth. Because if you knew the truth, like, rah, can you imagine if your children were like, rah, ancient Kemet is amazing. You're trying to tell me people who look like me, who are melanin dominant, they did all these amazing things. They created these pyramids and, you know, put the writing on the wall, the hieroglyphs, and amazing. But obviously, they're not going to do that. They're going to tell you the opposite. Do you get what I'm saying? Easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. Now, let me just show you how long they've been doing this opposite thing and how it's still pervasive in our society right now. Now, I broke this down in my Ancient Kemet lecture, so big up all the people that, one, came to that event, or two, have seen the video from that event on YouTube, yeah? This image is from Anthony Browder's book. What's it called? Great Civilizations, no, Contributions to the Nile Valley, or something like that. Someone put the title of the book, Anthony Browder, Nile Valley Contributions, or Nile Valley Civilization, something like that. But someone could put it in the chat, yeah? And basically what Anthony Browder done on this image here is he broke down the evolution of the alphabet. He showed that the alphabet started with glyphs. The alphabet started with glyphs on the hieroglyphs, yeah? The alphabet started with glyphs. So every letter actually started out as a glyph. Now just look at this, family. Look, I don't know if people can see. Let's start with the A, yeah? Can you see at the top there, the top left, it says Kemetic, then it says Semitic, then Phoenician, then Greek, then Roman. So everyone is taught the Roman alphabet. Everyone knows the Roman alphabet. But again, according to Anthony Browder, Nile Valley contributions, thank you. According to Anthony Browder, it all started with glyphs from ancient Kemet. Look at the A. Look how they flipped the A. So the A just kind of, it kind of progressed from being this glyph, yeah, to look at the Phoenicians. Once it got to the Phoenicians, it started to look like a letter, but the letter was on its side. So what did the Greeks do? And the Romans, the Greeks flipped it. Again, the easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. So look how the A looked in the middle, the Phoenicians, and then look what they did. They flipped it. Let's go to the B, and let's just go with the middle one. Look how the B looked during the Phoenician time. Notice that it's pointing to the left. So what did the Greeks do? They did the opposite. They made the B point the other way, just to confuse people. Yeah. Look at the C. Notice it's pointing to the left. What did the Greeks do? They switched it. They just flipped it round so it pointed the other way. Easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. And if you go through this whole thing, they literally done that with nearly the whole alphabet. Yeah. Look at the D. Look at the E. What's a good one to look at? Look at the M. Yeah. Go down to the bottom, family, and look at the M. During ancient Kemet, the glyph for water was just a wavy line, like water. It was just up and down, up and down. Everyone can see that. It was a glyph, yeah? And then by the time it got to the Phoenician alphabet, it looks like a W, yeah? Again, a wave, like water, a wave, W. What did the Greeks do? They just flipped it on its head. They flipped it on his head. So instead of it being a W representing water, they flipped it on his head and now it's an M. Yeah. They've been doing this from way back, even in ancient Kemet. The easiest way to confuse someone is to make them think the opposite is true. They literally found the glyphs and just switched everything around. Oh, it's pointing left. Let's point it right. Oh, it's pointing down. Let's point it up. Yeah. It's facing this way. Let's face it that way. They literally twisted the whole language. Yeah. And they've been doing that from the start. Now, going back to ancient Kemet, who knows who this is? Who can put it in the chat? I've mentioned him before, but obviously during ancient Kemet, there was a lot of pharaohs. There was a lot of deities, you know, gods and goddesses. Who knows the name of this one? I mentioned him earlier. Someone put, no, not Imhotep. Someone put his Kemet name. I'll give you a clue. They called this brother the Perfect Black. Who was called the Perfect Black during ancient Kemet? The Perfect Black. No, the Perfect Black was, thank you, Allison. Who's that? Osiris. There you go. Osiris. The Greeks called him Osiris. His Kemetic name was Osar. Yeah? Osar. So the Greeks called him Osiris. His Kemetic name was Osar. They called him the Perfect Black. The Perfect Black. That's what they used to call him. And what's interesting, when you see images of him, he'll either appear like this in all black or all green. Family, remember from the beginning of this podcast, we said that melanin is like synonymous with chlorophyll. Melanin is black, chlorophyll's green. Yeah. It's like back in ancient Kemet, they were telling us the truth back then. You guys look up Osar or Osiris and look up images of him on the glyphs. He either appears all black or all green. And they used to call him the Perfect Black. Yeah. And again, when it comes on to, can you imagine, like, if we was to bring him back from the underworld, because he represented the underworld, yeah? If we was to bring him back and just ask him a question, I'd love to be able to talk to an ancestor. Even Dr. Leil Africa, I got to talk to him whilst he was physically here. But if I had the power to bring him back, I'd ask him so many questions. Same with Osiris or Osar. If I had the power to just bring him back Do you know what? I'd just ask him one question. I'd just be like, if I had the power, I'd just be like, Osar, we brought you back from the underworld. We brought you back and we just want to ask you one question. One question, Osar. What is the one thing you tell all Black people to help them with their lives and make sure that they're not confused and don't fall for these confusing narratives with regards to melanin? What's the one thing you can let us know and tell every Black person? And Osar will be like, the one thing I would tell all melanated people is stop believing white folks. Wow, that is profound. Thank you, Osar. Thank you. Wow, that's the one thing you'd say to all of us to make sure that we just live an amazing life and we stop being confused and that. Thank you, Osar. Thank you. And again, if I had the power to bring back an ancestor, I'd even ask Malcolm X, bring back Malcolm X. I say, Malcolm, please. Malcolm, I know you're gone, but we brought you back just so you can answer one question. One question. What is the one thing that all melanated folks should start doing to ensure that they don't fall for all of these confusing narratives? Just one thing. Malcolm X would be like,
by any means necessary. By any means necessary.
Stop believing white folks. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you. So profound. What about Martin Luther King Jr.? Let's bring him back. Martin, please, just one thing you can tell all of us. Just one thing that would help all of us understand melanin better, understand ourselves better, understand our history better. What would you say, MLK? What would you say? MLK would be like, I had a dream. I had a dream that every melanated man and woman on this planet stopped believing white folks. I'll be like, wow, that's so profound. So profound. Oh my gosh. And I'm not a religious person, but let's say I had the power to bring back Jesus. Again, I'm not a religious person, and again, if Jesus was a real person, he would be a Black person. So if I brought back Jesus, I'd be like, Jesus, please, we just need some guidance. What would you say to all melanated folks to ensure that they're not confused, to ensure that they understand themselves, to ensure that, you know, they understand their history and who they are? And Jesus will be like, love the Lord. Seek first the kingdom of God. And one last thing. Stop believing white folks. I'll be like, oh, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. It's very simple, family. Just stop believing their foolishness. Us believing them leads to all types of confusion, but we keep on believing them. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me, yeah? Just stop believing them. Listen, let me open up the forum so you guys can ask your questions, make your comments, or say what's on your melanin mind, yeah? Say what's on your melanin mind. All you need to do is raise your hand and I will come to you. All right, we've got a couple hands raised. Hold on a second. All right, let's get N in the building. Unmute your mic, please, N. Greetings. Greetings.
Grand Rising family. Just a quick one in regards to this melanin debate. When I was training to be a spa therapist about 10 years ago, there was a girl that appeared to have olive skin. She was doing a treatment on me and she said, oh, look how white I was in these pictures. So I said, oh, you look like you're from the Mediterranean. I thought you was from Italy or Spain. She says, no. I said, oh, so how comes your complexion changed? She said, I've been getting these melanin injections. And she pulled out this little bottle. And she said she gets them every 3 months. So obviously I was in shock. But fast forward a few years, they get them from our babies' stem cells.
Yes.
It's a common thing in aesthetics for them to do that. It's quite sick, really. And they use cells from the placenta as well to achieve the brown in the skin that they so desire. That's all I wanted to contribute.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I've been hearing about these melanin injections. It's crazy. They're doing these melanin injections. You know, there's a video. I'm probably gonna have to play it next week. Thanks for that.
All right, Asante.
Yeah, so there's a video where it shows that there's not even an injection now. They're taking these, I don't even know what to call them, supplements or something, but they're like melanin shots. Has anyone seen these videos of white people taking these melanin shots, and then it increases their melanin and it increases it better than them being out in the sun and getting a tan? Yeah, it is crazy what they're doing with regards to melanin. So they're taking these melanin shots now. I don't even know what's in these things, but yeah, this is how it's going. What I find, yeah, is that the confusion works in two different ways. With regards to us as Black people, we start running away from melanin, yeah? So us as Black people, we start running away from it. We want to lighten our skin, we want to bleach, we want to wear shades, we want to be in the shade. That's how the confusion, the miseducation of melanin works on us. With them, it's the total opposite. They want to be in the sun, yeah? They want melanin. So we're running away from it, they're running towards it. I find that very interesting. All right, let me get Adrian in here. Adrian, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah, hi, Leon. Thanks for having me. Hope you're well. Yeah, on the subject of melanin at the beginning, a thought these thoughts came to my mind. It's to do with the analogy, right? Would you regard melanin as a battery, and then the power source is the sun, being electricity?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The melanin is like a battery, and then I look at it like, because I like to use analogies, especially when I'm explaining science to children. I say, look at your phone, because everyone's got a smartphone, so everyone can understand it. Your smartphone needs charging up, and there's two ways to charge up your smartphone. You can charge it up by using a charger, which you plug into the phone, or you can charge it up wirelessly, using some form of wireless device, yeah? I think that the sun is our wireless charger, yeah?
Yeah.
And then when we're doing grounding, or some people call it earthing, yeah, when we're connecting our souls to the earth, that's us plugging in. That's when we're plugged into the earth. We're plugged into the earth's source of energy, yeah?
Yeah.
So things like doing it on a beach, I think grounding on the beach is the most powerful way. That's the reason why literally when you go on holiday and you're on the beach, you literally feel like you're getting charged up. You walking bare feet on sand is like plugging in your phone. It's charging you up. You're literally plugging yourself into the earth's electromagnetic energy. So I think that that's one of the best analogies we can use with regards to explaining to our children. You know what I mean?
So that's the beach, the sand on the beach. That's the best place to do like things like workouts like kettlebell training, without getting sand kicked in your face.
Yeah. The more we train outside, the better. You know what I'm saying? Because now, if we're training outside, especially if we're training outside on the beach or even on grass, and we've got our soles of our feet actually on the earth, that kind of charges us up. And then we're exercising as well, that's charging us up. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're literally getting charged up by our wireless charger and the wire charger, which to me is the earth.
Okay, yeah. Sadly for me, in the flats I live, there's a green common, but because they've allowed the foxes to run wild, the foxes tend to, urinate and defecate on that area.
Oh gosh,
so
don't want to do it there then.
yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. But yeah. But anyway, just to say thanks for that, I'm gonna come off so that others can have their say. Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for that. All right, N, you can unmute your mic.
Back again. Sorry, it's because I had 3 stories, but I didn't want to hug the limelight. So this one, I went same thing with my training. This was about 10, 15 years ago.
Mm.
And they've got these big beauty brands, Dermalogica, Clarins, Elemis. And we went on this day trip to Derby to do some training. And I was the only black girl in the class of about 20 people. And the woman, the trainer, tried to tell me that I needed to wear Factor SPF 50.
Oh my gosh.
Block the sunlight, and we nearly had a big argument.
Oh my gosh. You know, they do that with children, innit? They do that with children in school.
I said, no, I'm black. I don't need to wear a sunscreen. And she started telling me about how I'd increase my risk of cancer and all this.
Oh
and
my days.
It nearly kicked off, so I just thought I'd share that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, because this is the thing. They fearmonger us with regards to the sun. They're like, oh, if you don't wear this sunscreen, you're more likely to get skin cancer. Oh my gosh, you better. And then worse still with children. Who's got young children who's experienced this? When you go to school and your children are it's playtime and the sun's out, or not even playtime, if it's the sports day, I think it's sports day or something at school, they tell you that your child has to put on sunscreen. They have to put on sunscreen. I think they tell some children they have to wear hats as well when they're out in the sun. Now, don't get me wrong. If children are out in the sun and the sun's blazing, then obviously a hat will help. Do you get what I'm saying? And some children, again, if their parents want them to, they can put on sunscreen if they want to. I'm not one to say to put it on or not. I'm just one to tell you the truth, and then you make the decision for yourself. If you've got my book, The Hidden Science of Melanin, I prove scientifically that the majority of the sunscreen products have cancer-causing chemicals in them. The majority of them. That doesn't mean all. So there will be some sunscreen products that may not have cancer-causing chemicals in them. But read my book and you'll see that the majority of them have cancer-causing chemicals in them. So now you gotta look through the ingredients and see, is there any cancer-causing chemicals in this one? And see if you're choosing a sunscreen that's not gonna cause you cancer. Do you get what I'm saying? But a lot of us, again, we don't know this. So we fall for the fear mongering. We fall for the confusion. We fall for these tap dancers. Oh, your child needs to wear sunscreen. Your child needs to wear sunscreen. Do you get what I'm saying? And you're back for a last story. One last story, yeah?
Meanwhile, they're spending quite a lot in the tanning industry. They spend a huge amount of money on spray tanning and self-tanning products. As far as like Saint Tropez, which is a big brand, £26 for a 50ml bottle. The look that I have naturally. Lol.
Yeah. I need to find that video. I need to find the video of I think someone put it in the chat. Is it melanin drops or something? Or melanin liquid or something like that, and they take it and it literally changes their skin. I'm gonna see if I can find it and show it to you guys on a future podcast. But again, this is what the confusion leads to. We're so confused. We're running away from melanin. Yeah, we're putting on sunscreen. We're wanting to change our hair. Do you get what I'm saying? Your hair is the way it is because of the sun. It grows towards the sun. Like it grows towards the sun because the sun is its source. And then you want to change your hair, relax it, straighten it, blah, blah, blah. Do you get what I'm saying? Meanwhile, the people who have pheomelanin, they want curly hair. They want melanin. They want darker skin. Do you get what I'm saying? You look on social media, you see the confusion. You see a lot of black women, all their filters are light. Then you look at white women and then you're like, right, is that a mixed race girl? Right, that's a white woman. Their filters are dark. The white women on there, they're trying to look darker. The black women on social media are trying to look lighter. Total confusion. Yeah, total confusion. All right, Adrian, you got something else to say?
Yeah. In addition to that, I've been seeing over the last 10 years, a lot of white women are going into the gym, doing a lot of squatting, far more squatting than men, to get their derrieres in shape. Yeah. And Nubian ladies, you got some competition there, you know?
That is so true. Yeah. That is so true. That's another thing. Again, flip. I don't want to swear, but when you go out, and this is Mandem, when you go out, if you do go to a nightclub, you don't even need to go to a nightclub. When I was traveling on the underground the other day, a lot of white women, they have big lips now. Am I the only one noticing this? A lot of white women have big lips. Yeah. So they're literally doing stuff. Like Adrian said, they're in the gym. They're trying to build up their bum and that. Yeah. And if they can't build it up, then they'll just get a BBL. But I'm seeing a lot of white women with big lips. Yeah. A lot of them. That is like the thing for them now, to have a big bum and a big lips. But I see a lot of them with big lips. They're trying to look like you. Oh, it's crazy. They're trying to look like you. You're trying to look like them. They're trying to look like you. You're trying to look like them. This is the confusion and miseducation of melanin. But yeah, big up everyone for staying right to the end. Let's finish up, family. Too much joke. People having fun in the chat, boy. But yeah, let's finish up, family. Big up everyone for staying right to the end. If this is your first time on the podcast, we do this each and every week, family. So tell a friend to tell a friend that we will be back next week for another powerful podcast. But let's just finish up. All right. So when it comes on to my book is available on Amazon for those of you who are interested. Even if you have my book already, this is a very amazing Christmas gift for those of you who celebrate Christmas. Christmas is coming up. If you want to buy someone a gift, why not give them some knowledge yourself? Yeah. So you can either get my book on Amazon or contact me on Instagram at Leo Marshall Online. For those of you who are not on Instagram, you can send me an email, thehiddenscienceacademy@gmail.com. If you contact me, I can get the book out to you. This is for only UK-based people. Actually, wherever you are in the world, I can get the book out to you and I will sign it. So whatever name you want me to put in it, I will sign it. Obviously, that's better than going through Amazon because you're not getting a signed copy through Amazon. So yeah, if you want a signed copy, if you want to sign it for someone as a Christmas gift, let me know either through Instagram or through email, and you guys can get your copy of The Hidden Science of Melanin so you can avoid the confusion. Avoid the confusion, family. All right, just to finish up, we do have a weekly webinar that we run called Wellness is Wealth. It's every Wednesday at 7:30. So if admin can just start posting about the Wellness is Wealth and all of the things that we've got coming up. So this is a free weekly webinar where we break down the importance of understanding that your health is your wealth. Each week we have special guests. They'll talk about all different aspects of health, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, or financial, because financial health should come under it as well. Wellness is Wealth, that's every Wednesday, family. Hope to see you this Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, we've got Robin Walker on Wellness as Well. So that's going to be powerful. And then next year, family, we've got this event. I just talked about how your hair your hair goes up towards its energy source, which is the sun. Yeah. So if you just let your hair, again, because we're so confused with regards to our hair, we want to straighten it. We want to put chemicals in it. We want to do this to it. We want to do that to it. If you just left it, your hair would show you how powerful it is. And we're going to break down the science. There's electromagnetic science to your hair. The curliness of your hair, the coiling of your hair is science, family. I'm going to be breaking that down. We're going to be having some amazing speakers at this event as well. So if you're into hair, if you're into knowing, some powerful stuff about your own hair, make sure you book onto this event. Early bird tickets are available now, family. So you can start booking onto this from now. Early bird tickets are only £10. Literally only £10. So make sure you get your early bird tickets from now, family, for this event. And then afterwards, next year, we've got The Hidden Science of Reggae. Yeah. Windrush Special. Very powerful event. We're going to be breaking down so many things at this event. And because it's going to be such a big event and it's going to be at Radisson Red Hotel, we're going to make it into a weekender. So you can either just come to the event or you can make a weekend out of it and book a room at the hotel through us and stay from the 19th of June to the 21st of June. Very powerful. We're going to have international DJs. We're going to have reggae performers. And obviously, we're going to have the heavy hitters. Robin Walker will be there breaking down the history of reggae in the UK. Yeah. myself, Leo Marshall, the scientist, I'm going to be breaking down how reggae, especially roots reggae, resonates with our melanin. You're going to have Andrew Mohammed, the investigator. He's going to be breaking down the truth with regards to Bob Marley in London. A lot of people don't know that story. Yeah, so this is what we're going to be breaking down at the Hidden Science of Reggae, how reggae influenced all popular music genres in the UK, the untold story of Bob Marley in London, why Jamaican cultural appropriation is on the rise, the deliberate erasure of Caribbean culture on TV, and these things as well. Why they've always feared the Rastafarian movement, how roots reggae became the soundtrack for a spiritual revolution. Listen to the music that if you guys know your history, think about the music that we were playing or listening to when we was rising up back in the 80s, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know, when it comes onto the Brixton riots, Toxteth riots, whatever it was, we were listening to a certain type of music that was the soundtrack to our revolution. It was roots reggae, family, yeah? I'm going to be speaking about why melanin resonates with reggae and what sounds activate it, the secret power of low bass frequencies. Listen, family, when I break that down, it's going to blow you away. And then Windrush, the true story that they don't want you to know. Yeah, we're going to be breaking all of this down. It's going to be around Windrush Day. I think Windrush Day is June 22nd. So our event is on June 20th. So it's a Windrush special. Don't want to miss that event, family. It's going to be very, very powerful. The Hidden Science of Reggae. Tickets are available now. You've got early bird tickets, or I'd suggest you get a room and make a weekender out of it, because we're going to have an after party. You're not going to want to go home after the after party, family. So get your tickets for this very powerful event. And big up, rest in peace Jimmy Cliff, who just joined the ancestors. Yeah, we gotta rate these people whilst they're here, and obviously rate them as ancestors as well. So we gotta rate these people out whilst they're here, give them their flowers whilst they're here as well. All right, family, thank you for joining. Thank you for staying right to the end. If this is your first time on the podcast, we do this each and every week. Marshall's Melanin Podcast. Join us back here next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. If you are on Instagram, you can follow me at Leon Marshall Online. Follow me at Leon Marshall Online. Yeah. And again, if you're someone who's going to be buying presents for Christmas, I think that my book will be an amazing present for someone in your family. Yeah. So they stop falling for these confusing narratives and they increase their knowledge of self. Because when you increase your knowledge of self, you'll start to look in the mirror and see a superhero. And that's what I want for each and every one of you. I want you to look in the mirror and see a superhero looking back at you. Yeah. So one love, everyone, and enjoy your week. Take care.
Genius. Melanin is the chemical key to life. Everything else they teach us about melanin is just jokes. If you really want to learn the truth about melanin, take it from the ancestors and stop believing white folks. My name is Leo Marshall, and that concludes the end of this podcast. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. You're a part of history, trust me. And just remember, be the light you seek. Just shine, man. More light, more love, more life. One.
Thanks for listening to Marshall's Melanin Podcast. If you like this episode, share it with your friends and family. To watch previous episodes, search Marshall's Melanin Podclass on YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, follow the scientist at Leon Marshall Online. Tune in next week for another explosive episode. And remember, keep shining.